Welcome back to Well. Today we're going to be talking about wellness and brand strategy. So, what drives the brands that are succeeding in the wellness industry today? I've invited one of my favorites in the industry, Barry Kostabi, to chat with us. Barry has so much experience working with fitness businesses around the world. He has lived in Dubai, he's lived in Shanghai, he's lived in the US, and he's seen what the good brands do well. He is kind of a psychologist, and I actually think he studied that in college. And I think of him as a wordsmith because he's able to help you articulate what it is that makes your brand unique. And after working with hundreds of Pilates or cycling or yoga studios, he can still draw that out in each one of you. Barry just deeply understands what your dream clients want and need and can help you craft a brand strategy that ensures you know exactly where your next clients are coming from, but it also ensures that you love your business. Thank you so much for joining us, Barry. It's great to have you on.
I've been really looking forward to doing this, Laura, ever since our webinar together on the Walla webinar series. And I'm really excited to have a conversation with you about this stuff today.
I know. It's nice when we're not in education mode. We can just chat. And I think this topic really honing in on brand strategy and understanding how the really good ones do it is something that all of us are interested in. It's the cool thing about brand to me is that they're just these iconic and magnetic brands that all of us kind of strive to be like. How do we be the Nike? How do we be the SoulCycle community? Whatever it is that really, hits a nerve for you. And I love the way you bring this down to earth for the business owner and also just shift the lens to the consumer. So I'm really excited to dive into that.
Oh, me too.
Yeah. So if you wouldn't mind, I'd love to just kind of kick off with understanding, generally your story and how you landed into this little niche of our industry.
Yeah. Well, I never would have guessed that I landed here, but, when you look back, everything makes sense. And the truth is that I've always been obsessed with storytelling.
Yeah.
As a kid, I always loved to read. I was writing science fiction books in elementary school. I had a very vivid imagination. It probably helped that I had an uncle who was a Hollywood camera operator. So I was always on set with him.
Wait, really? You got to actually be on Hollywood sets as a kid?
Yeah.
What a dream.
Incredible.
Anything we'd know? Any movies that are, or was it horror movies that nobody's ever seen?
Yeah, actually one was a horror movie. It was called The Black Dahlia. Scarlett Johansson and Josh Hartnett were in that. My sister got to go to Hawaii for 50 first dates, which I was super jealous I didn't get to join in, but I did get to be an extra on that 70s show and sit in on the background of that and was on the set of that show a lot. Yeah. So I feel like that played a huge part in, just seeing how these stories were put together and my obsession with that. And, that brought me to college where I started out as a marketing and communications major, but then I ultimately switched to psychology and graduated with that. And throughout this time, I was playing baseball and played all the way through college. And I adopted yoga as part of my baseball training. I actually started practicing yoga when I was just 12 years old.
Oh.
Yeah.
Gosh, you're the second guy I've talked to recently on this podcast who started practicing yoga as a teenager. And I'm like, where were these guys when I was in high school?
Let's get some more.
I know,
Yeah.
I know.
Well, it had such a huge impact on my life that when I graduated and didn't know what to do with my psych degree, which I think is common for a lot of people, right? I just decided to teach yoga and fitness classes until I figured out what I wanted to do with my life. And I like to joke that I guess I'm still trying to figure it out because here I am. Yeah. But yoga took me on an incredible journey. At 21, not long after graduating, I actually moved to India and I studied yoga at an ashram there. That took me to Dubai, and I lived in Dubai for 4 years. And I found myself building a boot camp business on the beach. And not long after that, I was the manager and lead instructor for Flywheel Sports when they opened there. Do you remember them?
Yeah.
They unfortunately closed during the pandemic.
Right.
They're a big brand coming out of New York. And that's actually where I met my wife, Shay, and business partner. She was the East Coast regional director for Flywheel in New York, and she was flown out to Dubai to train me and some other people. So
what a good how we met, dreamy, I was on this work trip in Dubai story.
We have such a crazy story. Yeah, we both moved to LA around the same time, and that's where she began to grow a consulting business for boutique studios. And then an opportunity arose to help expand a brand out of Taiwan into China. And we both got on board with that. So we actually lived together with other people, like dating other people at the time,
Oh my gosh.
in an apartment in Beijing to help build this brand and train their instructors. And I wound up living in China for 4 years as well. And Shay was bouncing back and forth.
Gosh,
And
so you've seen literally the global fitness landscape.
we've had such a blessing and opportunity to be able to do that. We've worked in over 15 countries in person with studios. But it was through all of these travels and experiences that I decided to start what was called at the time the Fitness Career Mastery podcast in 2017 in that little apartment in Beijing, because I recognized that there's so much that I had just intuitively knew or learned from all these experiences that a lot of fitness studio owners and instructors could benefit from. So I started this podcast talking about and interviewing people to learn what makes a studio successful, what makes a class successful. But popularity of that podcast grew.
Yeah, you guys were like one of the first fitness podcasts I feel like I listened to, I heard about. So good job being the first to market.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I think it was just like us and one other one at the time, but that totally exploded unexpectedly, probably because it was so new and so needed. And Shay's consulting business grew so that when she came out to Shanghai, where we were expanding this brand to, and we accidentally fell in love with each other. We actually got married in Shanghai.
Oh my gosh, no
Yeah.
way. Oh God. You'll have to send pictures. I love seeing what weddings look like in different countries.
Well, wait until you hear about this one. I'll have to tell you about it sometime. But
Yes.
that was a wild, wild day. You know, they require you to take like a couple's passport photo together. Like imagine a passport photo, but like with your significant other, and they give
So you're
you
both
what
like,
looks like.
what are mugshots? Like you guys look like mugshotted next to each other.
I wish I had it with me just to hold up to the screen, but yeah, it looks like a passport photo, but for couples, and they give you like a little passport as your
Oh,
marriage
that's
license in
so
China.
funny. Wow.
It's really funny. Yeah. But through getting married, through being in the same city, we decided to combine forces together, her consulting business and what I was doing with Fitness Career Mastery. And it was really through the pandemic that things started to pick up for us. We were kind of forced to retire from teaching and found ourselves with a ton of knowledge. So we started helping fitness businesses pivot online and build a brand to help them stand out from all the other businesses that were online. At the time. We built a course called Go Digital and another course called The Secrets of Brand Building, and then a third entire school that teaches all the soft skills that instructors don't learn with their certification about how to create an unforgettable class experience. But through all of that, that kind of brings us to today. We've rebranded as Fitcarma, and we help fitness business owners build brands that move people beyond the type of workout that they offer. Because
Awesome.
yeah, we've recognized from teaching and helping build brands in all these countries around the world that what makes people come back from an individual class to a brand is how that class or how that studio, how that brand makes people feel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think part of the reason I was so excited to bring you on the podcast was whenever you connect with our clients, when you do these Walla webinar series, or when we hear feedback from our clients when they work with you, it's just such a different emotional experience talking about learning how to talk about your brand in a way that connects to that idea, how you make people feel. And I think what our industry gets wrong so often is that we're all obsessed with talking about what our workouts do, like what the technical workout is, how
Yes,
that, is slightly different. This reformer is slightly different from that reformer, and whatever the nuance may be. But that actually has nothing to do with why you have a lot of members.
exactly. And it's so interesting because it only takes about 2 minutes of digging deeper to get people to tap into that deeper emotional why. Like I'll do it right now with you, Laura. Like why do you love to exercise?
Gosh, I mean, for me, it's my me time every day. It's my like escape from work, escape from kids. And honestly, if I really peel it back, it's my escape from needing to make decisions. And
Yeah.
the stress of constant decision making and being needed. And that's actually why I love boutique fitness particularly, because it is an instructor telling me what to do. It's not me. Like, I actually get frustrated at the gym because it's another decision I have to make. Every time I finish
Exactly.
an exercise, I have to make a decision on what the next one is. So,
Right. So we didn't have to get very deep below the surface to discover that. It's not the type of workout that you do or the piece of equipment that you get on or the fact that you're doing push-ups or squats in a certain way in the class. Obviously, that's important and that contributes to that feeling of
mhm,
being able to switch your mind off and feeling like your cup is full coming out of the class and feeling like you're getting your me time. But that's not the thing that you're going there for.
right, right,
Yeah.
exactly. So, I mean, I think when we're talking, first of all, fitness business owners have to think about a lot more now than they had to pre-pandemic 10 years ago. There's just a lot of noise. And I'd be interested to hear from you how you've seen the overall kind of wellness landscape change. And has that changed for you at all how you talk about brand building, or does it always come back to the same idea?
Well, this is really interesting because largely I agree with you. Like 10, 15 years ago, Shay and I like to joke that you could just put a sandwich board out on the sidewalk
Mhm,
and people would come flooding into your studio and it was as easy as that.
right.
But so a lot has changed in that sense. But honestly, my answer to this is that, in my opinion, the industry has changed the same degree that things change when you're running on a treadmill.
Okay, explain.
So, what I mean by that is, as an industry, we find ourselves just cycling through different trends, which gives us the impression that things are moving and changing and evolving. But here's the reality that we really have to look at as an industry. We're not getting more people moving. We're
Yeah,
hovering around 20% of the population actively takes part in fitness, which is just
crazy.
abysmally low. And Shay likes to think about, like, if you factor in the number of people that are fitness professionals to
Oh,
that
God.
number, it's even lower than that.
God, I never think of it that way. You're right. That's a huge percentage.
Yeah, this is, I'm not just making this up. IRSA, which is now the Health and Fitness Association, did a study in 2022 that reported that in 2022, it was the highest number at 21%.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ugh,
So
heartbreaking.
I know. We have such an amazing opportunity, even though it feels crazy out there right now. And that's why we do what we do. Because what's been happening for decades as an industry, it's like we're rotating like a treadmill belt through trends. Pilates is hot right now, but it wasn't that long ago that boxing had a flash in the pan and indoor
Yeah.
cycling was the hot workout to do. And guess what? Something else is coming next, and we'll move on to that. And again, we're going to feel like we're making forward progress, but we're not actually accomplishing the goal that I believe, and I believe most of us believe, is what we're here to do, which is to get more people moving, get more people falling in love with movement and experiencing how moving can change their life.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, exactly. That is when you dial it back to the why behind every fitness business owner I've ever spoken with. That's it. There's a deep passion around getting people to fall in love with movement and usually their particular style of movement. But
That's right. What was crazy to me, if I could just add,
yeah.
you might have seen this in the news that Exponential announced that they're that holding company that owns every franchise, right? They sold Cycle Bar and Rumble. And these are two very established brands, and they sold them because they're not profitable. But boxing and cycling aren't trending right now. So if we're dependent on what's popular in order to make sales, and if Exponential can't even make that happen, then what are we doing? Right?
God, that's a really great point. I mean, it's if you are living and dying by trends in this industry, you know, why even start, to be honest? You have such a short the half-life of your business is pretty sad.
I feel for a lot of businesses right now, they're investing 10K a machine for reformer Pilates and are not in a position where they've built a strong enough brand around to support that modality. what's going to happen in a few years when we move on from that.
Yeah. Well, okay, that's a great segue to talking about brand loyalty because obviously you've seen brands do it well. There are brands that do it well who have been around for now probably decades in the fitness world. And I'd love to hear, some of the things that you step back and say, wow, okay, they've just nailed this part of it. Yeah, some of your recent favorites.
Well, that's a great question. I think what I'd first like to say is that we typically categorize brands into three different buckets that we see out there. And I think the brands that are doing it the best out there have built what I call an identity first brand. What they have centered their entire brand and business around is the identity of the person that is their dream client, the identity that they want to adopt, that they want to have, that they want to experience, whether that is, and they want to become a person who is able to, I love this term, match their well span to their lifespan.
Great phrase. Okay,
Right?
well span, lifespan. I got to write that down.
Write that one down. To a brand that has identified the challenges that women have as mothers and how they're constantly, whether they're mothers or not, giving themselves away to other people often and need a place where they can fill up their own cup, right? So what they recognize is that they're not selling the workout, but the workout that they offer and the way that they do it is the perfect vehicle to get that individual to that identity that they're looking to experience.
Yeah, it's a big shift in perspective when you think about the business.
Right. But most businesses fall into the other two buckets. And we call those either a logic first brand or an experience first brand. And a logic first brand is one that believes they're selling workouts and they're trying to sell that workout based off of data, essentially statistics, right? We're going to help you increase your VO2 max. You're going to get a great cardio burn. We use this piece of equipment. We're the first studio in town. Our trainers have this many certifications, right? Do you feel any emotional connection to that?
No. It's I mean, I'm sure there are some people that are have a kind of thinker mentality that likes to see data that's helpful, but it doesn't necessarily keep them. It might attract them. It might not keep them.
The only person that kind of marketing and positioning and messaging attracts is someone that already holds value for exercise or already holds value for that kind of workout that studio is offering. They've fallen in love with it. They're just looking for a place to go do it, right? But the problem is, as we've established, that's an extremely small percentage of the market. And you put yourself in a position where you're having to compete with every other studio in town or online or on YouTube for free that offers the same workout that you do and uses similar messaging. I mean, most businesses say the same thing. We offer a high energy workout and a supportive community to help you reach all of your fitness goals with a great, I see that on
for everybody, yoga for everybody or whatever. It's
exactly
the opposite of what.
So just by nature, you're putting yourself in a really difficult position to differentiate yourself and to really speak to the individual on the other side. And as human beings, we make decisions based off of emotion, based off of how something makes us feel. So that's the logic first brand. An experience first brand takes it a little bit further than that. They still are selling the workout, but they have built in more of an experience around that. Their lobby is very welcoming. They've put a lot of thought into the design of the studio and the space. The class itself feels more like an experience. Perhaps there's some really good structure around the programming of the class, or the instructor is trained to teach in a way that really takes people on a journey. And that can be a really great experience, but it's still not going far enough to help someone, a consumer, someone on the outside, understand that by giving their dollars to that brand, by giving their time, by, we ask a lot of people to carve out time in their day to change their clothes, to get sweaty and have to take a shower afterwards, right? To expend energy, to ask all of that from someone. They have to know where we're taking them. And if we're just taking them to the other side of a workout, that's something that's easy to leave, something that's easy to replace. But if they identify themselves as someone who wants to match their well span to their lifespan, that identity first brand is doing a really good job of communicating that story, then that's where you find a brand where people can't live without it.
Right. And I think, one of the questions I was going to ask you is how consumers are different today than they were 5 years ago. And I know there are a lot of things that are different, but at the end of the day, nothing's changed about how we make decisions. It's still
That's
what you
right.
said. It's still emotion based, and it's still a lot of it is based on feelings. So, you don't have to constantly be readjusting your brand strategy if you get that part right.
Well, that's what's really interesting, right? Because if you've identified that you're going to bring someone to that identity, there's actually so many ways that you can accomplish that. Here's an example. We're both in Southern California. If we want to get to New York City, there's so many different ways for us to get there. We could drive a car across the country, have a road trip, right? We could hop on a plane because we got shit. Can I cuss? Can I cuss on your podcast?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. We got shit to do. We got to get there as quickly as possible. Or we could take a train, right? And really just enjoy the experience of going across the country. We're all going to get to the same destination, but how we get there is going to feel a little bit different, right? So when we think about this in terms of our fitness business, your workout is the vehicle to getting them there. And it's up to you to decide what's the best vehicle that you believe will get people to the destination that you're promising them. But if trends change, if another pandemic rolls around, you can easily adjust to take people to that same destination.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a great way to phrase it. I think when we talk to a lot of our clients here at Walla, I think they often have this mentality that it's my way or the highway, when it comes to the actual routine, the actual fitness programming that they're offering, right? Like we have the way, the truth, the light. We know this is the only way. In reality, what we hear often is that people like to do different things. And there's, things like ClassPass out there. There are opportunities to belong to gyms that have a million different types of classes. We hear that there is just this struggle to get people to be loyal. But if I'm hearing you correctly, it's actually not a struggle to be loyal, regardless of what the methodology is, if you're helping them get closer to that identity.
That's exactly right. And I love that you bring this up because the reason why most businesses find themselves in a position of being so passionate about their workout and the way that they do it, which has actually caused like so much infighting in our industry. That's not Pilates, it's Legree, rhythm
Yes.
ride, power ride, right?
Yeah. Oh,
We're,
gosh,
we're at each other's throats over this and confusing the consumer even more. But my point is that because you're positioning yourself at the level of the workout, and there are so many other options out there to get an equal experience or similar enough experience in terms of workout, you kind of have to lean into my workout's the best, my way of doing it's the best, right? But if you realize that that's not what you're actually selling, you put yourself in a position to stand apart so much more from all the other competition out there. And you're exactly right to build a deeper level of loyalty with people because they align with your values. They align with your beliefs. They align with the identity, again, that you're all on a mission to achieve together, right? That's community. It's not having a bunch of people under the same roof at the same time. It's people that share the same belief system, that are on the same mission together. And the workout is just, again, the best way there.
Yeah. Interesting. I think of it almost in terms of like we all talk about in ICP, like an ideal client profile or a brand avatar. It's almost like you need an identity avatar because it could be a man who's, 40 and a woman who's 25 have the same identity or similar that they're going for. Like it could span so many different things. Generally, we can find, there are definitely generalizations, but yeah, it's an identity avatar you need to understand.
Totally. When most fitness businesses are building that client avatar, they build it based off of demographics, right?
Yes, exactly.
It's a woman in her 30s to 40s who has this many kids and this level of income. And that's actually, again, like limiting yourself so much, and it's problematic in other ways. But when you, like you said, build that around identity, the way to make it simple is if this is where they want to go, what's the beginning of the story? Where are they at right now, right? In your case, you fall into the identity client profile of someone that needs to just let go of thinking for an hour, right?
Yeah, exactly.
To refill your cup, to like press the reset button. So to speak to someone like you, they speak to some of the symptoms you experience when you haven't had the opportunity to press the reset button in a while, right?
Right.
That's actually your ideal client avatar or profile, whatever you want to call it. The person that is struggling with these undesirable feelings that they don't
Yeah.
want anymore.
Right.
And then you could
Exactly.
say, then you can show them empathy. Then you can make them feel seen. Then you can make them feel part of your brand from the instant they come across you. And then you can say, here's where we're going together. This workout's the best way to get there. And then you start to reach people that never would have thought they would have done your workout before. I'm not flexible enough to do yoga. I'm not balanced enough to do Pilates. We hear all these excuses, right? They're going to buy in because they want to go on the journey you're taking them on.
But yeah, totally. So who's getting it right now? Do you have any brands that you love that you feel like, gosh, I just what they're putting out there is nailing everything we're talking about today?
There are two that immediately come to mind, and I'm a little biased because they're clients of ours, but
That's okay. Shout them out. I love it.
the Collective Studios in New Hampshire,
Oh,
Ashley.
I just met Ashley at
You
a
did?
conference. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Hi, Ashley, if you're listening.
Isn't she incredible?
Yes. Yes. She's such a, yes. I have a lot of great things to say about her. So keep going. Sorry.
Yeah, she is someone who's got it locked in. She has identified where she's taking people. She understands why each one of the classes on her schedule are on the schedule. She recognizes how each of them are part of the perfect prescription. She makes sure that everyone who she hires buys into the same values and beliefs, that they believe in the mission of the brand. And she's built consistency around the class experiences to ensure that they're taking people on that journey. She's just doing an incredible job. She's going to explode in the next few years.
Awesome.
And then the other brand actually just opened. She's called Nest Pilates, but her Instagram following is just skyrocketing because people are resonating with her messaging so much. She sold out all of her memberships before she even opened her doors because she was speaking to people that do not typically feel like they belong in a reformer Pilates class.
Love it. That's amazing. And that's a lot of people. Like we said, 80%.
Yeah. So many people are resonating with her messaging. And obviously, these are people that probably have never tried Pilates before or have been terrified to take it. And they feel drawn to go in there because they feel seen and they feel like they belong and they want to go on the journey that Tate of Nest Pilates is taking them on.
Awesome. All right. So homework to anybody listening, go check out their websites, see how they're speaking to their prospects.
Go give them a follow.
Yes, absolutely. Well, what's exciting you about the industry today? Obviously, we're seeing, I know trends, I know lots of kind of innovation in the wellness and recovery world, but is there anything that's kind of like, I can't wait to see what happens in that little niche?
I think I'm seeing more, which just fills me with joy. Studios that are leaning into this kind of messaging more. And part of it is because the demand of the consumer is changing. There was a report that came out in 2022 as well that most people are not interested in exercise today for aesthetics or weight loss. 43% of people want to reduce stress. 43% of people want to feel better mentally, right? They actually don't care about the Pilates body or the better butt or the summer arms. Right. So because the consumer is changing, it's making the fitness industry have to change more rapidly as well. And I think that if we continue down this path together, where we recognize that we're showing up there because of how we experience life differently, we have a fuller cup, we have more energy, we feel more confident, we feel unstoppable, and we're going to get more and more people moving.
Nice. Well, I don't see you as the guy that probably gets really annoyed by a lot of things. You've got the like mellow, I've lived in an ashram in India energy, but is there anything that's kind of driving you crazy right now in the industry? I know a lot of us that see so much. It's easy to get frustrated by certain aspects of the fitness world. So would love to hear your take there.
I mean, despite my Zen nature, I can rage out on this
Do you go to
stuff.
those rage rooms and smash things?
You're not selling the workout.
That's why you come across so mellow, because you've already taken it out. Okay, got it, got
Exactly.
it.
No, but that is one of them. I am so grateful for this opportunity because it just allows me to stand up on the rooftop a little bit more with my megaphone and just shout. The reason people exercise has nothing to do with exercise over and over and over again. So that's one of them. It's so deeply ingrained that we're selling workouts. And you know what? It makes sense to me because all of us in this industry, we've been exercising for so long that we immediately associate how we feel and how we are experiencing our life because of the type of exercise that we've learned to fall in love with. But that's not actually what it is, which kind of leads me into the second thing I rage out about is that we have things completely backwards. We're selling fitness as a means to a hot body, right?
Yeah.
And the belief that if you get that hot body, then you'll be happy, then you'll
Yeah.
be fulfilled in life. But it doesn't take a smart person to realize that maintaining that body can be a miserable process. That type of body is rooted in beauty standards that are highly problematic and exclusionary. And there's a lot of people with that body out there who are deeply unhappy. But what is true of all of us is that when you provide a great fitness experience that makes people feel confident, unstoppable, full of energy, right?
Mhm.
They want to come back over and over and over again. That's what happened to each of us, right? And when you come back over and over and over again, your body winds up changing as a result. And by that point, it doesn't even matter because it's about how you feel in your body and how you show up in life, right?
Yeah. I love it.
And
Yeah, I think it's important for us to remember what it's like to be a beginner again, especially when we're talking about this identity first. Like I recently took a pottery class and have not an ounce of artistic talent in my body. And it is just kind of one of those things. I felt like an idiot the whole time. And I was like, wow, this is, meanwhile, there, half of the people in there are like not just making a bowl that basically looks like a nest in my case. They're making like handles and like curvature on it and ridges. And I'm like my hands just don't do that. Right. So I encourage studio owners to do something fitness business owners to do something you've never done before from time to time, because that is what people feel like. And in a way more intimidating way, because you're asking them to do something hard, right? To
yeah,
sweat, to breathe hard, to feel your heart rate elevate, like
so
very,
vulnerable.
yes, vulnerable. And, getting them to step back in the door again is a big deal. So to your point, the loyalty aspect of it can't just be about selling them an ideal body picture, because that's not going to do it.
You're not going to develop loyalty to the pottery studio because they put a lump of clay in front of you when you sit down there.
No, and especially not going to develop loyalty because they show me the perfect, teapot that somebody did, because I'm never going to be able to do that. Like clearly
I
these
love that.
hands were not made for
Exactly.
art.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But why are you going to pottery? Again, to like switch off, to like
Yes,
explore creativity?
exactly. Yeah. Explore creativity. Like I wanted to see what I was capable of, like that was kind of it.
You're someone that values creativity and how life feels when you are tapped into that creative flow, right?
Yeah, totally. See, guys, Barry draws out the words. Like sometimes you're like the chat GPT when you're like, yes, that's exactly what I wanted to say of the emotional identity that people are
that
trying to get.
that is what I hear when no matter who I'm speaking to, they always say in some way, shape, or form, I just can't articulate what it is
Hmm.
that I want people to know about my business. That's what I hear
Wow.
all the time. Yeah.
Yeah, that's so nice to have somebody that can support you in that. And I mean, it comes back to it is a feeling, like there is so much we feel that we can't articulate, and having the right tools, partner, support system, business coach, whatever it might be, to draw that out of you is really, really
It's also just really hard to be objective to
cool.
this stuff, right? I like to say you can't read the label from inside the bottle. And often what you value, what you're most passionate about, what you're really good at is invisible to you because it comes so easily to you, right?
Gosh, yeah.
And it takes that outside perspective for someone like me to say, no, you are exceptional in this way, right? Everyone I speak to has a slightly different story and perspective. It's so cool. Even though
Mm.
I've worked with 1,000 Pilates studios and cycling studios,
Yeah.
all of them have a slightly different take on it. And that is what create so much space and so much room in this industry, because our brand should be an expression of who we are and our superpowers. And I just happen to be really good at showing you what yours are.
Yeah. Gosh, well, that is a beautiful way to end it. There is so much magic in the uniqueness of each business and each person behind the business. And I'm so grateful to you for drawing that out of them.
Thank
I
you.
love to wrap up and just kind of a fun get to know you better question. So I was thinking, just this has been top of mind lately, but if you were to plan the dream retreat anywhere in the world, be able to take a group of people, share a cool experience, where would you go and what would it be like?
Immediately, I have to say Ubud in Bali.
Really? I've never been. I would love to go there.
My God, it's after we wrapped up our role in China and kind of part of our honeymoon, Shay and I basically lived in Bali for a month.
Uh,
And it is one of the most beautiful, healing, especially Ubud. You off of the beaches where they party and you go up into the mountains, and there's the people, the culture, the nature there. It's just so healing.
okay,
And I
that's
think that's the place to go.
awesome. Well, I have an excuse to go there now. One of the teachers that used to work for me at my studio ages ago opened a beautiful, huge yoga center there, and I need to make it happen.
I'll need to get the name of it from you, because yoga in Bali is
Yeah, I
at a
know. Lots
whole
of it
different
there.
level. Yeah.
Lots of it there. All right. Well, where can our audience, our listeners find you? And if they want to do this unbelievable exploratory work, just figuring out what their secret sauce and their magic is, how do they best get a hold of you?
Thank you so much. It's Fitcarma everywhere. On Instagram at Fitcarma HQ. You can find our podcast by searching Fitcarma anywhere. I also recommend you follow at the Group X Conservatory, which is Shay's account, where she really dives deep into she likes to call it the science and spirit of flow state when it comes to a class experience. How do you create the ultimate experience? She gets deep into neuroscience on there behind
Ooh.
how to create the ultimate experience behind a class that people can't wait to come back to. She also has a podcast called Off the Mic, which is geared more towards instructors. So might want to get your teams listening to that.
Ooh, good call.
And
Yeah.
if you're interested in having what I call a North Star session, which is where I help you figure out what your North Star of your brand is, you can go to fitkarma.com/Northstar to apply there.
Okay. Amazing. So they find you at Fitcarma. Anything fun you can offer our listeners today? Would love to hook them up.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for asking. We have a free course called Why You're Not Selling Out Your Classes and What to Do About It. And the best part about it is that it's gamified, so
Oh, cool.
it'll take you just 40 minutes to get through, but it'll completely transform the way you think about your brand strategy.
Oh, I love it. Okay, cool. Go check it out, guys. Thank you so much again, and we will see you next time on Well, Well, Well.